If you've seen any of my content, you'll know that I like to take my watches out for a walk, film it, and add it to the end of my reviews or other watch vids that I do. Now today, we're looking at my top 5 most picturesque places that I visited in 2022. It's great to have you here. Now, I set up my channel back in March 2022, and so far it's been a fantastic experience, but I made a commitment to make sure that I do walkabouts in all my reviews, which admittedly is the most fun part of compiling a review, but keeping the locations interesting is somewhat of a challenge. Whilst we opted not to go abroad for any holidays in 2022 and instead focus on staycations here in England, we still managed to get out and about, mainly in my home county of Yorkshire, here in the north of England. There's so much to explore here in England, from beautiful cities like York, a stunning walled city in Yorkshire that boasts places like the incredible York Minster and the imposing Clifford's Tower, to places like Liverpool, home of the Beatles, Jurgen Klopp and Royal Albert Dock, to beautiful coastal towns like Hastings, way down deep in the south of England, and Scarborough, over towards the North Sea and a firm family favourite of ours, to London, our capital, and home to some 10 million people, and stunning places like Aysgarth Falls, where Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was filmed, and fantastic theme parks like Sundown Adventureland in Nottinghamshire, and the brilliant Legoland. Man, we had so much fun there, which is actually on the doorstep to Windsor Castle, the official residence of the late Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Now in 2022, which was the debut year for my watch-loving channel, I managed to plan my vids around days out and mini staycations. Here is what I think are the top 5 most picturesque places that I visited in 2022 with my beloved microbrands. At number 5 is the beautiful city of York, a place I lived in for over 6 years. Now, having travelled to many cities and countries, mainly in Europe, throughout my life, I can honestly say that York is one of the most stunning and certainly one of the most picturesque places that I've ever been. I now live about 13 miles south of York, so it's easy for me to get to, and I've managed to do walkabouts there with some brilliant microbrands, namely the fabulous A201 by York-based microbrand Atom. And I walked around with the Azurite Blue model, which pays homage to the rare blue Azurite material. Now, unfortunately, the Atom A201 didn't make Kickstarter funding, but I'm hoping that they'll be back with a vengeance in 2023. And I'm sure they will. And also the Sequent Supercharger, the world's first smartwatch with automatic movement with infinite power reserve. It sports a fantastic subdial that sweeps across the bottom to showcase steps that I've made as a percentage of the targets I set. And the Holgo Sport Automatic with its stunning 904L oyster steel case, a fantastic and really elegant H-shaped case and a galoche finish style, giving me that luxury feel on my wrist as I ventured through the cobbled roads of beautiful York. At number 4 is the stunning, and I mean stunning, Pembrokeshire in Wales with my equally stunning Helm Kuraburi titanium with the white dial. Now, if you watched my top 10 microbrands of my 2022 collection video, you'll know that this came in my top 5 and it wore absolutely beautifully as I took to the Pembrokeshire Coast National Park on a long weekend camping with my mates. A lot of walking that we did, albeit on raging hangovers, was on the world famous Pembrokeshire Coast Path, which takes in some seriously stunning scenery. Now, the lightweight titanium didn't let me down either, nor did its fantastic white dial as I filmed my walk around near Pennykai or Strumble Head, which is an incredible rocky headland that seriously took my breath away, and that dial complemented the scenery around me. Now, I couldn't think of many places better than the Pembrokeshire Coast National Park to take such a wonderful watch to, other than perhaps Kuraburi itself. At number 3 is Liverpool, home of the Beatles and the famous Royal Albert Dock on the Liverpool waterfront. Now, I took the W Laboratory Speed, somewhat of a homage but much more of a looky-likey to the Rolex Daytona, but still a really nice and comfortable watch to wear, and very lightweight too. Now, I wore the T-Blue colourway, powered by the Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz movement, around the fantastic Beatles story, and I absolutely loved being transported to an incredible immersive journey as I listened to the story of how 4 young lads from Liverpool were propelled to the dizzy heights of fame and fortune from their humble childhood beginnings. And the W Lab Speed didn't let me down either in terms of comfort, as I took it around the really picturesque Liverpool waterfront, and the weather too was really spectacular, so all in all a really fun day out. At number 2 is London, specifically the Royal Docks and the Greenwich Peninsula. I recently went there on a work trip to a marketing expo and took the lovely brew de Clifton Sport, which is crafted from medical grade stainless steel and admittedly is one of my more comfortable wears of 2022, as we headed across the London Dangleway, which was really cool, especially at night, and around the O2 Arena, which is one of the world's largest entertainment complexes and sits on the Greenwich Peninsula in South East London. Now, having lived in the London Borough of Sutton in South London for a huge part of my life, and now finding myself in Yorkshire up in the north of England, I do try to get down to London as often as I can, but admittedly, since the pandemic started, I haven't been down as often as I'd like, but I'm planning a few trips around some key tourist areas in the city like Big Ben, Buckingham Palace and Tower Bridge in the near future, so please do keep a lookout for that. Now, at number 1 of my top 5 most picturesque places I visited in 2022, and featuring a watch which I haven't yet published, is Whitby, with a multiverse Artemis from Singaporean microbrand Carl. I must admit first and foremost that I've always been on the fence whenever I came across the Carl multiverse range. It's been around for a few years now and there are tons of reviews all over the internet. Every now and again I see it and I love it. Sometimes admittedly I see it and I don't see all the fuss about it. But wearing it around the fantastic seaside town of Whitby, albeit a very windy Whitby, in my own county of North Yorkshire, I realised that, well, I rather quite like it, and without giving too much away from my next review vid featuring the multiverse Artemis, I felt like it was less of a watch to, for want of a better term, show off, and more one that was an extension of my personality, being someone that is fascinated by our solar system. So here it is, Whitby, my number 1 pick of my top 5 most picturesque places that I visited in 2022. So thank you for watching, I'm really glad you're here, and if you do like my content, please don't forget to subscribe. Now, I do hope to get out and about to more places in 2023 and showcase more microbrands, or even the odd non-microbrand, but I'm still wondering and planning where to go. Since 2017, we've been to Disneyland Paris every single year until the pandemic hit, so it would be great to go back there. We've also got family in the Canary Islands and also used to visit Germany quite often, so it'd be fab to go back there too. But back at home here in the United Kingdom, there are so many places to explore and visit. I really can't wait to get out there to explore this fantastic country with a microbrand around my wrist.